Tinubu greets Muslims on Eid al-Adha, urges reflection on sacrifice.
Lekki Deep Seaport Access Road inaugurated.
National Security Advisor destroys more than 3,000 illegal weapons.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall take a look at the 2025 Eid al-Kabir celebration.
So, it's that time of the year again. The Rams look nervous. The tailors are working overtime, and traffic in cities like Lagos is hectic. Oh, don't even get me started on traffic. Abuja traffic is the opposite. Not just slow, the streets are empty.
Of course, you should also add that people are getting ready, to celebrate. Does that include you, by the way?
Well, don't I look the part?
If you're dressed for the celebration, do you have a venue yet? Have you been invited?
I won't give you no info.
I haven't been invited anyway, so maybe that's why I'm trying to get the leak, so I can have a place to celebrate. But of course, you already know what this means. Eid al-Kabir is here, or as many Nigerians call it, Ileya, which literally means
time to go home. And trust me, everyone is going home. Whether you're in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, or Kwara, there's that familiar rush, crowded parks, full buses, jollof rice on standby.
And don't forget the rams in the backyard waiting for the annual sacrifice. But Eid al-Kabir is more than just the celebration. It is rooted in a powerful story of faith.
That's right. It all goes back to Prophet Ibrahim, who had a dream where God asked him to sacrifice his beloved son Ismail. Can you imagine that level of obedience?
It's a lot, but just as he was about to carry it out, Allah intervened and replaced Ismail with a ram. The message, it's the intention and faith that matters most.
And that's why, to this day, Muslims around the world commemorate the moment by sacrificing rams, cows, or other permissible animals during Eid.
But beyond the barbecue and celebration, Eid is about sacrifice, reflection, and spiritual renewal. It's a time for Muslims to check in with their faith and, of course, give back.
Exactly. And let's not forget the day of Arafah, the day before Eid. Muslims who aren't on Hajj usually fast on this day. And it's so significant, Yenri.
Oh, yes. The Prophet Muhammad said, fasting on Arafah wipes away the sins of the past year and the coming year. That's not a deal you want to miss, of course.
Absolutely. And now on Eid morning, no breakfast before prayer. That's the rule. Everyone heads to the mosque, dressed in their best. I'm talking agbadas, kaftans, ankara, lace, and many others.
Fashion during Eid is actually a form of worship. Muslims are encouraged to look their best, wear perfume, and show gratitude through beauty and joy. I call it dressing good for the sake of Eid.
Indeed. I love that. And for those planning to slaughter a ram, hold up. The rule is wait until after the imam has done his patience first. Then pepper soup.
I love the sound of that, and I hope I get a taste enough of it today. Eid al-Kabir falls on the 10th day of Dhul Hijjah, the final month in the Islamic calendar. The celebration usually lasts 4 days, and every single one is packed with, meaning. And of course, there's food, and you get to unite with family.
Indeed, and also known as Baraka Eid in some parts of the world. The Arabic name Eid al-Adha translates to Feast of the Sacrifice, and that says it all.
So today we're diving deep into this important celebration, from its history to its food, fashion, and faith. And yes, we have got some guests joining us shortly to share more on this. You don't want to miss it. This is Good Morning Nigeria, Friday's episode. I'm Ian Ray John.
And I'm Victor. So the weekend beckons and the Eid vibes are just getting started. Our usual newspaper review will get to you later. That will be after the news with Frama Panyi. Good morning, Frama. Barka de Salah.
Good morning, Victor. Good morning, Yeri. Good morning, Nigerians, and Barka de Salah. Here is the morning news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has felicitated with Muslim faithful across the world, saying the day is to reflect on core values of sacrifice, devotion, and selflessness. In the statement, the president says Eid al-Kabir also reminds faithfuls of their responsibilities beyond faith to show resilience, tolerance, compassion, and dedication to the progress of their beloved country. While reaffirming his commitment to these values, he expressed deep appreciation for faith, patience, and perseverance. Nigerians shown his administration implements bold reforms. And President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed the commitment of his administration towards delivering enduring infrastructures across Nigeria. President Tinubu renewed his commitment at the inauguration of the Lekki Deep Sea Port Access Road and other projects across the country. The president also inspected the Dangote Refinery and Petrochemicals Complex.
To affirm our commitment as an administration to deliver enduring infrastructure across our great nation, we truly retune and re-engineer our finances to find more money for infrastructure, which is the backbone of any industrialization and economic development and job creation of any nation.
The Senate Committee on Army is making efforts to formalize the bill to ensure that officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces who are on election duty participate in the voting process. This was the focus of the visit by the Senate Committee on Army, led by its chairman, Abdulaziz Musa Yaradua, to the Army headquarters, Abuja. The committee says the disenfranchisement of security agencies and other officials during election directly affect the voters' turnout. Armed Forces Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2025, the Armed Forces Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2025 were among issues discussed during the visit by the Senate Committee. Now, in a significant drive to rid Nigeria of proliferation of small arms and light weapons, National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu has destroyed more than 3,000 illegal small arms and light weapons recovered from mop-up operation across the country. The exercise complements other ongoing internal security operations. And Nigerians must rise to the challenge of protecting the environment by changing how they consume packaged food items and dispose plastic containers and bags. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu stated this in her message marking this year's World Environment Day as she joins millions around the world to call for urgent and united action towards safeguarding the environment. She describes the theme for the celebration, ending plastic pollution, as apt, noting that unsafe disposal of plastic waste has become one of the most pressing environmental challenges of our time, affecting our health, our environment, and our future. And that's the news for now. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Yenri and Victor after this break. Enjoy your holiday.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
ìjọba fún wa ní 75,000 NIN ní àti káàdì láti lọ gbà. Nígbà tí mo sì gbà mo fi ṣe nǹkan tó dáa, mo ra oògùn nínú rẹ̀, mo ra oúnjẹ tí màá jẹ nínú rẹ̀, mo sì wọkọ̀ mi náà ń bẹ. A sì fi yòókù ṣe ọrọ̀ ajé pé káàtó máa rí dé bá. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba wa òkè.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring an impeccable personality with purposeful leadership.
Abba Abubakar Aliu, MD, CEO of Rural Electrification Agency, takes us through the gamut of activities and mandates of Rural Electrification Agency, as well as its achievements and dreams.
I really want to see that I leave a lasting legacy that can be spoken of in a very long period of time.
Welcome to a world of fun and excitement as we also present an assemblage of professionals in the media space. Some compelling NTA programs, current trends in the fashion world, ICT, sports, entertainment, and lots more.
Meet Professor Charles Anosike, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, as he shares his vision in repositioning NIMET as a key player in Nigeria's climate strategy.
Get a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Introducing the new Jig Sachet. Whitening your whites has never been more affordable. Now you can keep whites shining brighter and disinfect by killing 99.9% of germs on your floors and other surfaces. Just jig it with Jig Sachet.
Our major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the Naira.
Why do you need Dettol's 12-hour protective shield?
Why? Oh yeah, come. Let me show you. From the risk of picking up germs in every corner to receiving those notes everyone has touched and that sweaty hug from an old friend. What else can give you all day long protection?
Germs are everywhere, but Dettol's 12-hour protective shield shields your family every day,
keeping them safe, healthy, happy, and successful.
Dettol, be 100% sure.
The Nigerian national flag represents our country's history, culture, and identity. It was designed in 1959. The colors are Emerald Green 2.0, which represents agriculture, and Immaculate White represents unity and peace. Know how to handle our flag. Illuminate the environment or don't fly the flag overnight. Do not fly a dirty or tattered flag. Take such flag to the nearest National Orientation Agency office for proper disposal and replacement. The national flag can only be flown at half-mast on the directive of the federal government. The national flag must be flown at the same or higher height when displayed alongside other flags. Don't burn or allow the national flag to fall on the ground. Do not print, decorate, modify, or insert the coat of arms on the flag. Our national heroes are not buried with the flag. They are honored by presenting it to their next of kin during internment. Respect our national flag. Be a real Nigerian.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
I want to play! Survey says... If my phone rings at 2 a.m., it's probably...
my mom.
An emergency.
Landlord.
Achaluko.
Hey!
I will give you 1.5 minutes. Hey! After you smile finish, I will add
extra 1.5 million just for you to move around. I will not add extra 2 million naira. Just for you to call me Odogu.
Family Feud Nigeria Season 3 is officially live.
All right, you're still on to Good Morning Nigeria here on the network service of the NTA. Let's now take you through the dailies in a minute.
We have Chukudi Okolie Bagja with us this Friday. Happy Baraka de Salah to you, sir.
Baraka de Salah. I listen to the newscaster. I learn on my feet.
Okay.
Baraka de Salah.
Okay.
Baraka de Salah. Victor.
Baraka de Salah.
You are a great man. You learn on your feet as well. On your buttocks, I should say.
Well, no comment.
We'll see you guys.
All right, so let's take a look at the headlines quickly. The lead story, of course, is Salah. Travelers spend hours on Abuja-Kaduna Highway. Not interesting. That's the Daily Trust newspaper. And just below the masthead, we have Eid al-Adha, Tinubu Atiku, governors preach peace. How 300 Nigerians died in 6 days. Not good, but the details is on page 5. Ahmed Chief makes case for early voting for military personnel, and that's on page 10. And finally, from the Daily Trust this morning, we have Life and Times of Professor Jibril Aminu, and details on page 6. All right, Victor.
All right, I have the blueprint, and the single story here reads, Eid al-Kabir, tough days over. We are into a new era of renewed hope. That's credited to President Tinubu. Akpabio, Abbas, governors urge patience, resilience. And that story is on page 8. Chukode.
We started on a note of thanking God for this today concerning the Muslim faithful. Our Baraka de Salah is, of course, the regular greeting on a day that Muslims are celebrating what comes out as the biggest of their festivals. I got into the studio and asked, what is it? Is it Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Kabir?
Yes, it's the same.
One is a festival of sacrifice, one is the big Salah. Well, the lessons will always be the same because honesty, transparency, love for your neighbor, truthfulness, those don't mutate. And those are the things that hold humanity to stay human and humane. So the lesson for our Muslim brothers and sisters is that the battle continues in trying to be better, neighbors to their neighbors and all that. It goes for everybody, whatever your faith is. So we wish them the very best.
Indeed.
As they celebrate this big festival. Very big indeed. And you saw Arafat, the prayers. You see, anytime I see a situation reduce us to what we should be, everybody is equal. They are all on the same mat. The building in Asokoro does not matter anymore. Humility, good neighborliness, the things that will drive humanity all the time when every other thing is gone. It gives me great pleasure. I was really happy to see that every human being was made equal by the situation, a divine situation. It's a great thing to watch.
Indeed.
It is a great thing to watch. But I wasn't quite happy when I heard that, when I read that travelers spent hours on Abuja-Kaduna Highway.
As a result of a truck that fell.
Goes without,
yes.
Is it the truck?
The truck fell.
Or just traffic?
Not traffic, not just traffic.
Trucks.
It was caused by a truck that fell. But I also got update that the FRS officials were, there on time to ensure that, you know, the truck was moved out of the way, and then eventually the road became freer for travelers.
No opportunity for negative feelings. But when things like this happen and you say, hey, with all the insecurity, you know, one hears on. So I'm really happy that prompt action was taken to enable these people continue their journeys.
And the life and times of Professor Jibril Aminu, you know, incidentally, Chukwudi, 2 days ago, I don't know why exactly, I just remembered the prof. And I wanted to check, what's with him? He's gone quiet for a long time. And I went to Google, okay. He wasn't late, only for yesterday morning. News broke that Professor Aminu had passed. And I was wondering, why did my mind go there?
No. You see, I don't ever want anyone to begin to make the mistake of saying Pastor Chukwudi Obaja, because I know it's a sinner, you know. But the truth is that you do get messages, you know, from the spiritual realm from time to time. The mind travels. It does.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Chukwudi,
but quickly,
the director says we need to go.
Quickly, Jibril Aminu showed me spectacular, you know, humor. When Obasanjo was released from prison, that day Obasanjo was feeding bits of meat into his mouth, and I liked the camaraderie. A very simple man.
Indeed.
You know.
God rest his soul.
Yes.
All right.
We drink great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree. We swear in color, we turn dark into light. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Education is unique, we have more than the solution.
We are Nigeria, strength and unity. We know they carry life. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria, of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
NTA Television College Jos, you will dive into exhilarating hands that will fuel your passion in education and propel your career to new heights. We don't just teach, we craft the next generation of media leaders. Explore our diverse offering, understanding the personnel matters and issues in the public service, basic development communication, financial reporting under IPSAS, and interpretation of public sector accounting standard IPSAS, audit, internal check and control management, video camera maintenance, new technologies, optics, fiber, IP technologies, automation, storage management, and wireless technology. Challenges and opportunities in the secretarial profession in the digital age. Digital marketing, basic drama, online reporting, understanding the provisions of the revised public service, audio engineering operations and maintenance, camera operations, and intermediate drama. Mark your calendar. The second quarter of 2025 is your launch pad. This is your moment to seize the future. Announcer, management.
Hey Nigeria, ready to breathe cleaner? The best part, conversion centers are popping up everywhere. It's never been easier to switch to gas. Join the cleaner energy revolution. Choose LPG for cooking and CNG for your vehicles. Clean energy for brighter future. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, supported by the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA.
The Nigeria Coat of Arms is the official seal that represents the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hung on the wall behind the seat of the principal officer of the government, supported by the portrait of the serving president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It has 7 features. The black shield stands for Good Earth of Nigeria. The silver wavy band stands for the confluence of rivers Niger and Benue. The 2 white horses stand for dignity. The yellow flora is a common wildflower throughout Nigeria. The red eagle stands for strength. The wreath is in our national colors of green, white, green. The motto, unity and faith, peace and progress, is written on a beautiful yellow ribbon, and it's a maxim for all Nigerians. Be a real Nigerian.
The federal government of Nigeria warns vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipment will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
All right, many thanks for remaining tuned. It's still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. And just before we get into the conversation and introduce our guest, let's take a look at the background reports put together by our correspondent, Shehu Mohammed Dati.
Eid al-Kabir, also known as the Festival of Sacrifice, is a significant celebration in the Islamic calendar, marking the culmination of the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca. It commemorates Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son Ismail as an act of obedience to Allah's command, embodying the values of faith, devotion, and sacrifice.
The son said, Father, Satajiduni, inshallah, sabirin. He said, do whatever Allah has asked you to do, definitely you will find me a patient child. That is the key of the matter. That is the key aspect of it.
Muslims gather at Eid praying grounds for congregational prayers, followed by the spiritual slaughter of sacrificial animals such as goats, sheep, cattle, and camels. The meat is then distributed among family, friends, and the less privileged in the community.
You find that the period has unified all of us in terms of this act of ibadah, and then the care, show of love and concern for the less privileged. You give out of what you have slaughtered, you give the less privileged, you give the poor, you even dash it out. So that is why this period is very, very, very significant to all and each and every Muslim.
It's a lesson of hope. It's a lesson of fulfillment, and it's a lesson of Iman, that is sincere belief in Almighty Allah. And it's also a time in which Allah creates hope for the hopeless. That you cannot lose hope, you cannot think this is the end of the thing in your life, that Allah in His infinite mercy is the one. Also tells us that when you believe in Allah and you sincerely trust Him, be rest assured that the best will come to you.
Eid al-Kabir is a time of social gatherings, festive meals, and charitable acts, fostering a sense of community and compassion.
All right, thank you very much, Shehu Dati, for that background report. And now, on the significance of Eid al-Kabir, let's introduce our guest right here in the studio, and I'll begin with Imam Ibrahim Idris, who is Deputy National Chief Imam at the Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society of Nigeria. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, and also joining us here is Kasim Okwakunle, an Islamic cleric and legal practitioner. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning
Nigeria. It is my
Nigeria.
pleasure to be here.
All right, also joining us for the conversation all the way from Lagos is Dr. Aisha Adavuruku, an educationist and life coach. Many thanks for joining us, ma'am. Barakat Salah to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right, let me begin with the Deputy Chief Imam. You know, Eid al-Kabir is widely regarded as the festival of sacrifice. But what is the deeper spiritual significance of the occasion, you know, for Muslims around the world?
Naam, thank you for this question. The significance of Eid al-Kabir, the festival of sacrifice, has some historical origin with Abraham, Prophet Abraham, the father of virtually all the three major religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, all rooted from his teachings and his messengerhood. He had a child at an old age, Ishmael, according to the Islamic history. And God tested him.
His faith.
God tested his faith to slaughter that. Let me see how dedicated, how love for me you have. A child at an old age, close to 100 when he had that boy, and then was asked to sacrifice him. He consulted the wife. She agreed. If it is God's command, so be it. He even consulted Ishmael himself. And Ishmael said, Satajiduni Swabiran, inshallah. You will find me very patient if it is the command of God. So they all agreed as a family to submit to the will of God. And he tied him, brought a very sharp knife. At the last second, when he was about to sacrifice Ishmael, وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذَبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ, we saw that he passed that test, and we substituted with a great sacrifice, a ram. That great sacrifice was a ram. So it's a lesson of patience, a lesson of obedience, a lesson of perseverance, and a lesson of submitting to the will of God.
Submitting to the will of God. Fantastic. Many thanks, Imam. Barrister Kwakule, listening to the Imam speak, of course, it's beyond just sacrificing animals.
Yes.
This should, this period is a time for Muslims to actually reflect on their relationship with Allah and, of course, get better. But with the way the celebration is done these days, what lessons would you like Muslims to imbibe?
Yes, we are not expected to just go all out without certain observations. Generally in Islam, we do things with ethics, and even Eid that we are celebrating, we see it as an act of worship. So long you do it in compliance with Islamic dictates. We are not free to celebrate like any other occasions, like you spend money extravagantly. You are expected to spend money in order to take care of yourself and those who are around you. And that's why we have a formula with which we share the ram, whatever that we slaughter. And then before getting to slaughtering of the ram, you are only required, if you have the capacity. It is not a do or die thing. It is not what you have to indulge in corrupt practices, steal theft or stealing other people's property in order to ensure you acquire your ram. And it's not a practice that you did it last year, you must surely, by crook or by whatever way, you must also slaughter it this year. No, it is only required when you have the capacity. So Muslims must understand all this. That truly is a good practice, virtuous practice, but you are only required when you have the capacity. And when you have the capacity at the same time, you must understand that Islam expected of you to, by that practice, good glad tidings to your neighbors and to your families.
Fantastic. When you talked about the sharing formula for the ram, I'm sure it includes that you must share to your friends.
Definitely.
And okay, I just wanted my Muslim friends to take notes. All right, so let's get to Lagos. Dr. Aisha Adaviriko, distance is not a barrier in this case. You just heard there's a sharing formula for the ram. So to your question now, these days we're seeing more women, coming all out, even in terms of worship and all of that. Tell us, what is changing? And for you as a woman, what does Eid al-Adha mean?
Okay, so thank you so much for that question. Eid Mubarak, everyone. When it comes to me as a woman, what does Eid al-Adha mean for me? It's, for me, when I look back at the story of the mother of Prophet Ismail and the wife of Prophet Ibrahim, it signifies total submission to the will of Allah, and also submission in commandment, in alignment with the commandment of Allah to our husbands as women. Because when Prophet Ibrahim went to the land and left our mother Hajar there with her infant son, she submitted to the will of Allah and she obeyed her husband and stayed there. And again, when Prophet Ismail came of age and he was, Allah commanded Prophet Ibrahim to offer him as a sacrifice. The Shaitan tried to, poison the mind of our mother Hajar. He tried to poison the mind of Prophet Ibrahim. He tried to poison the mind of Prophet Ismail. All of them together said, no, if this is the command of Allah, we accept. So as a woman, it signifies total submission to Allah for me, and also submission to our husbands when in obedience to Allah, because there is no obedience to the created in disobedience to the Creator. So it signifies for me obedience to our husbands when they command us in alignment with what's in the Sharia. And also, as a woman, it's the season where we go into the kitchen to actually prepare the ram, which was, what was given by the gift that was given to Prophet Ibrahim by Allah to slaughter in the place of his obedience when he obeyed Allah to in wanting to slaughter Prophet Ismail, his son. So it also signifies that it's a season of merriment for me to welcome guests into my home, to serve them, and by doing this, seek the pleasure of Allah. It's also a season where we go out to the Eid ground to offer the prayer, because Rasulullah Sallallahu has encouraged us that we should go out in our multitudes. Even a woman that is in her period ordinarily would not offer prayer at home, but she's expected to still go to the Eid ground and sit down and watch the multitudes, be part of the merriment. So these are all what Eid al-Adha signifies to me as a Muslim woman. Thank you.
Very much, Dr. Adaviruku, but I'd like to stay with you a bit. You've talked about the bonding, you've talked about the merriment, which Eid al-Adha provides opportunity for. But beyond all of these, how can families, take the opportunity of the moment to instill deeper values in their children, their wards, and loved ones?
Okay, so like last Eid, I was on NTA Good Morning. I was on this same program, and my son went to the Eid ground with his aunties. And later in the day, when I joined them, he was like, "Mommy, you didn't go to Eid. Where were you?" My son, he's 4. So, and I was like, well, I was serving the nation. So part of what we can do as women is go to the Eid ground with our family members. And beyond this, before this time, I got my son, my 4-year-old son. I have older sons, but every Eid we watch stories about the message of Islam. And I distill these stories to them to tell them the essence of faith. Faith for us is worship in obedience to Allah. So I get them to watch. When I was growing up in my own house, we used to watch, there is this film, The Message. It encapsulates the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the message of Islam. So my father and mother used to get us to watch it, and it's a tradition that I try to follow in my own home too. I get my children to watch it and also watch stories about Islam. And we sit down as a family and we discuss, those stories. What does faith mean? What does service to humanity mean? What does service to your nation mean as an individual? It means that whatever is happening in the family unit is what we see in the society. So as a mother, as a wife, as a woman, as a daughter, as a sister, I try to ensure that I spread love and also teach my children to spread love and unity, because that is the essence of faith, to believe in God and also serve humanity by, you serve Allah by serving humanity, because as his vicegerents, we are vicegerents of Allah on earth. And when we are able to distill these values in our family unit, we're able to build a better family unit and a better society. So this is one of our core responsibilities as women, as mothers, as wives. And it starts from our families.
From the family. Many thanks, Dr. Adaviriko. We'll get back to you. I'd like to get to the imam right here in the studio. Listening to her talking about how she's, trying to raise her children. We know that there are disruptions these days, technology, social media, and all of that. So, Imam, speak to us really. I mean, the younger ones, can they join Eid prayers via Zoom? That's the in thing now. The teachings, what the celebration is all about. Do you feel that this modern age technology is disrupting some of these teachings?
This technology has its advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes even within a family, 4 family members sitting down, each one is on his own. Each one is carrying his phone. And no attention, no this interpersonal relationship. That is the danger. And therefore there is nothing like virtual Eid prayer or by Zoom. This physical interaction, meeting one another, is one of the key principles. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, my dear Prophet, used to attend physically. He does the sermon, and when he finishes the exercise, he goes around to the women folk and specially greet and address them, specially. So it involves this physical contact, nothing like virtual Eid prayer. You need to meet, you need to interact, you need to admonish one another. There's one common phrase after Eid prayer. Taqabbalallahu minna wa minkum salih al-a'mal. May the Almighty accept all we have done that is good and the sacrifices. This sacrifice is nothing to Allah. لن ينال الله لحومها ولا دماؤها ولكن يناله التقوى منكم. The blood doesn't reach God. The meat doesn't reach God. What reaches God is your sincerity and piety. Therefore, this is a period where we physically meet, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. When she says she opened her doors in the house for visitors, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Sit down, eat with them, drink with them, celebrate with them. Feel that bond of relationship, and it will give peace and harmony in our society.
All right. Thank you very much, Imam. Thank you. Let me get to Barrister Kasim. Now, from your dual perspective as lawyer and cleric, how can the observance of these Eid celebrations, be done with spiritual upliftment on one part and being legally compliant?
Yes, we all know that in our society, we all have our various rights. And nobody can, on the religious ground, be denied his own right. We as Muslims, even Islam teaches us to ensure that the manner in which we tread roads, paths, the way we walk on the roads, Islam taught us on how to do that. And then not to even talk about celebration. You must understand that your celebration should not bring nuisance in the society. Take for instance, when you are killing your ram, for instance, it's if you're living in a community that is residential, you are not expected to combust. You set the ram on fire and start burning. You wouldn't know if your next neighbor is asthmatic, and that may affect them. So we are supposed to operate in such a way that we encourage peace. At the same time, we ensure that other people's rights are not being violated in the least of it. At the same time, we also ensure that we teaches people on how to correlate, just like the Dr. Aisha said earlier. I also do that too in my home. What I usually do is, when it's time, either these or the Eid we celebrate after fasting, I prepare food, my wife do that, but my kids share the food.
Okay.
And the essence of this is to teach them the fact that you don't live in isolation.
I need to be your neighbor.
You're welcome. The essence of this is to teach the kids that you must share. Teach them the art and the act of sharing. Okay, this morning, before coming here, I didn't even know I'm going to talk about it. Before I left home, I gave them their notes, cash. Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak. And they were jumping, because so that they would know that we are already in the mood of a festival. I did that because I didn't want someone else to give them money before me. The essence of all this is not because they lack it. The essence, what will happen at the end of the day, is to put it in their pigeonhole. But it's to teach them that this is the way you should lead your life. Your neighbors have right over what you have, as much as you have over what they have. You must make your neighbors to be happy. They can be perceiving very fantastic aroma when you are here field and they are hungry.
The way I'm perceiving it in the studio.
You're so even Islam taught, the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in an hadith that the food of a man will be adequate for 2 people. Food for 2 people will be enough for 3 people. So in the essence of that is we must be able to accommodate ourselves in our community, because Islam is a religion of community that is based on community. So you cannot exist alone, but as you're practicing your faith, you can't afford to trample on other people's rights. You must make sure that the environment is not changed as a result of the fact that you are celebrating
activities.
All right. So you don't block roads unduly. You don't make noise in the environment.
We're talking about making noise.
Yeah.
Do you think that besides blaring of music, loud music, and all of that, do you think that maybe there's noise in some other way? Say maybe in fashion, like there's this craze now by women, to look, flashy and all of that. Is that part of the celebration? Is that acceptable?
Yes, it is. It is.
But with modesty.
The only thing is, it is part of the celebration.
Right.
Just like I said earlier, that Islam moderates everything. There are restrictions, there are regulations. Women, for instance, are permitted to use gold, jewelry. They're permitted. But they are not expected to expose it in the public. They use that to their loved one, to their husband, to turn his head, so that the love will be stronger. The man will feel privileged that I'm seeing what others cannot see outside. I'm seeing the beauty that other eyes cannot see. It makes the man to feel honored and feel the woman to be
feel privileged.
Feel privileged.
When you said turn the man's head, I don't understand. How do a man's head?
I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
I don't understand.
Let's leave her. I like to get to Dr. Daviruku now. Leave her alone. So, Dr. Aisha Daviruku, please. How should parents, in this circumstance, how should parents and guardians balance cultural traditions with modern day expectations, especially when you are raising kids in urban cities like Lagos and Abuja?
Okay, so the network was a bit off, but if I want to rephrase I want to share what I heard. You said, how do parents balance modern expectations versus, the Islamic values? Is that the question?
I think it falls in line. Go ahead.
Okay, so when it comes to modernity, as Muslims, we have what we call the Sharia. The Sharia in its entirety is the culture we live by. So if you meet a Muslim in any part of the world, they should be able to live by the culture, which is the Sharia. It's the total way of life for Muslims. And it has guidelines for how we live with each other, how we celebrate, how we do everything we do. So in balancing modern values or modern way of life with our Islamic values, we must ensure that we only pick those things that align with Islam. We can only pick from the modern what aligns with Islam. In parenting, what does that mean? It means that you're able to allow your children use technology responsibly. You allow them use technology as long as it does not corrupt their values. The values of Islam are faith, peace, honesty, modesty. All of these values, especially, for a Muslim woman, the way of dressing, of course, for a Muslim man too, but let's even focus on the woman. The way of dressing has been regulated. You must cover yourself. This is the only area for a Muslim woman that should be exposed. So in going to the Eid ground, you are expected to be modest. In conducting yourself as a mother, you're supposed to also, showcase these values to your children. To your female children and also to your male children, you should be able to teach them values of honesty, of responsibility, because they will grow up to be the men that buy the rams, right? So they should know that they are being prepared to take on that responsibility. So balancing modern values with Islamic values means that we take only what aligns with Islam, the values that align with Islam. So in some modern culture of the woke culture of, sometimes you say things as they are without necessarily checking for how it lands, for responsible use of language. You need to pay attention to your speech, your manners with people. Islamically, you're expected to smile and greet people when you meet them. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said it's a form of charity, So, in our dressing, we should be responsible. We should showcase ourselves as Muslims. Even for the men, there are guidelines for, your hair. You should either cut everything or keep it groomed. Not, some of the way that we see some young people do their hairs these days. In your clothing, it should be clean. Even in your thoughts, you should be able to regulate your thoughts such that when any evil thoughts occur to you, you immediately flip it to the positive. So, all encompassing, we should, in our manners, in our speech, in our dressing, we should be Muslims. Thank you.
Be Muslims in every way. Many thanks, Barrister Adaviriko. I'd like to get back to Imam now. Well, it's an abridged version because, we are opening a live studio where we'll be talking about Eid al-Kabir in full and, of course, joining different Eid grounds, especially the Eid ground where the President will be worshipping this morning. But Imam, I'd like you to run us through the right way that the Eid prayer should be done and how the ram should be slaughtered, because I know that all of these are regulated. Like, there's a right way to do the thing. Is it that you get to the Eid ground and then you begin to do live stream and begin to, take selfies? I mean, the path you take getting to the Eid prayer when you're coming out and all of that. Just run us through that as a reminder.
Right, as a reminder, the two raka'at prayer are done mostly now around 9 o'clock. So you are supposed to wake up, you and the children, bath, put the best of clothes, apply perfume, be modest exactly for men, and then you start moving. Preferably, if it is not too far, you trek the distance. But these days it's difficult, so use whatever means of vehicle and get there. When you reach the mosque and before the arrival of the Imam, you sit down and then start reflecting over the glorification of God. Simple formula. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar wa lillahi alhamdu. Simply means Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. There is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. Allah is the greatest. Just glorification, glorification throughout until the Imam arrives. The moment he comes, you stand up for prayer. 2 rakat, simple rakat, not more than 5 minutes, you are through. But the Imam is expected to address the congregation after those 2 pieces of rakat prayer. And most of the discussion will be centered on the significance of this sacrifice, the need to share, the need to visit, the need to interact with humanity generally. Those are the simple procedures. Thereafter, go back and slaughter the animal. In fact, you must witness the slaughtering of the animal by the Imam. That's why the Imam normally they convey his ram to the mosque so that you witness how he slaughters his own. Generally, slaughtering, we should be good to animals. No excessive tying them, no suffering the life. Even as he's losing his life, do it with modesty and goodness. After that, call the butchers, pieces it, divide it into 3, 1 for the family, 1 for relations, neighbors, and if you like, the 3rd one, give it out to the needy and indigent. In fact, that reminds me, in Alabibia today, we are cooking for at least 3,000 indigent. Today, by 9 o'clock, food will be ready. Muslims, non-Muslims, neighbors of the mosque, everybody comes, well-packaged food for 3,000.
In fact, that's what I was going to ask Barrister Kasim, because you've also mentioned earlier that Islam encourages sharing of meat and inclusiveness. And I'm wondering, how should this be done, especially in neighborhoods that have, a mixed faith?
Yes, I have friends who are non-Muslims, and I'm sure they will all resort to my house later in the day. Only that I offer them.
Add me to that list, by the way.
We'll see to that. You're already welcome. But I only offer them what my faith permits.
Of course.
I will say, okay, this my friends, he drinks. I'll offer
alcohol.
I will only offer them what
Your
my
faith
faith
permits.
permits.
That round.
Most importantly, even some of my staffs in the office, some of them are saying, please, Oga, my ram, when we are coming back, when we are resuming next week.
Sure.
So the point I'm trying to make out of that is, if you have the capacity, Islam did not say that you can only slaughter 1.
Good.
You can slaughter more. Even the woman, your wife, can slaughter in her own name.
Exactly.
She can.
What about those who can't slaughter? Is there something that can substitute for the ram, considering the present economic challenges and the cost of the rams?
Well, ram, goat, cow, and camel. Those are the options.
And don't forget you can share.
And if you can't afford
If
any
you can't
of
afford
these,
any of them?
If you can afford all that, for the purpose of celebration, you make your family happy. You can get any other thing. Because I said earlier that the slaughtering is not mandatory.
Exactly.
It is only for those who can afford it. But one important thing is, slaughtering 1 ram, you can do al-ishraku fil ajr.
Okay.
That you slaughter 1 ram, and when you are doing the slaughtering, you say that you are slaughtering it for yourself, for your wife, for your father, for your mother. So they will all share in the reward of slaughtering.
on behalf of all of them.
Yes, on behalf of all of them. So that takes care of those in your family who cannot afford to slaughter. But if you can afford to slaughter, you can slaughter as much as any. You have the capacity.
10, 20.
Even your sons, your daughter, who are of age and they have the capacity on their own money, they can as well slaughter.
Can you slaughter on behalf of your daughter or your son, daughter? That is there age limit, for instance?
No, absolutely no. When it comes to something like that would be of public benefit, the only thing that is required is your own capacity to the financial capacity. And then when you are talking about financial capacity, I think we've talked about it, that you are not expected to get the money from the source that is impure. Because in Islam, we are very mindful of the source and the end. Both the source and the end. Because if the source is wrong, there can be a hand that is right. So, and that is one. Two is, in as much as you are buying more than one or two, make sure that there is no extravagancy, that there will be leftover food, whereas people somewhere that same day they are hungry, and God will be angry with you.
No show off.
Even human being will be angry, not only God, because there they are hungry, and you are already here wasting resources. So Islam does not give room for that. So it did not allow extravagancy. Rather, it encourages community and mercy to ourselves.
Many thanks, Barrister. I'd like to get back to the Imam, before we get to Dr. Adebariko in Lagos. In the past, were women supposed to attend, the Eid prayer? I mean, because there's this that women now attend the Eid prayer and all of that. Has that always been the case, or it's a changing narrative?
It has always been the case right from the time of the Prophet. It is a day that he sees everybody converge, and that's why Dr. Aisha Adabariko was making a case. Normally when a woman is in a period, she doesn't pray. But the Prophet encouraged even those on their monthly cycle to join and just observe that congregation. So it's a practice right from the time of the Prophet. It's encouraged even today. Yes, I agree with you. There are a lot of atrocities now going on. People may even deviate from going to the mosque. But the standard is women are allowed to attend that Eid prayer just for the multitude and for the interpersonal relationship. You see people you have not seen for over a month at that congregation. You salute one another, you greet one another, you share prayers with one another, you raise hopes for one another.
Is there a way, for people who not by choice, say some people are ill, for example, and cannot be at the Eid ground. Is there a way they can, I don't know, take part in this prayer, maybe on your own? Okay. Is that possible? Or is it that you are totally exempted?
Due to necessities, circumstances, illness, incapacitated, sure, one can in spirit observe those Eid prayer from home, can watch, can pray, can join by heart this kind of congregation. So I can understand with these excuses. It's allowed.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. Let me get back to Dr. Adabariko. Now, most of the youth we see around these days are interested in the glamour and social media aspect of the Eid celebration. But how can they be redirected to the true essence of the Eid festival?
Okay, so thank you so much. To comment briefly on your question, which Imam have answered, but I wanted to share a personal experience. I called my great aunt last Friday and we're having a conversation, and I told her that, maybe at the previous time I called, you had gone to the mosque. And then she said, no, I was not at the mosque. I've never gone to the mosque before. It's these days that women go to the mosque. But just like the Imam said, the mosque is a place a woman should go to, and the Eid ground especially. But there are guidelines, just like the Imam said. The guideline is a woman should be properly dressed. The part of the woman that should show the face and the hands. So, as a woman, please attend mosque prayers. If you are married, with the permission of your husband, of course. And for Eid prayers, please come out in your multitudes and go to the Eid ground. It is the sunnah, it is the tradition of our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that women should go to the Eid ground, even for women who are ordinarily on their period that should not, pray the normal 5 daily prayers. But even if you're not praying the 5 daily prayers, it is our tradition as Muslims to wear a new cloth or a washed, pressed cloth that looks very nice on you and go to the Eid ground and showcase the beauty of Islam. It is part of our tradition, and it is highly encouraged and highly rewardable. So pack as much reward as you want into your accounts when you return to Allah. Part of the way of doing that is going to the Eid ground on the Eid day. Even if you're a woman in your period, sit down and watch, the multitudes come out and celebrate and share greetings with as much people as you can. It is rewardable. You get a lot of reward for doing acts of the tradition that are encouraged. Now, to your question, please repeat it.
I wanted to know, young people these days get carried away by the glamour and the social media aspects of Eid celebration. And I'm just wondering what your advice would be to redirect them to the true essence of the festival.
Oh, so thank you so much. That's a very, very important question. The essence of this celebration was when Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam got to Medina. He migrated from Makkah to Medina, and he met, the Jews doing some sort of a celebration. And then, he said, Allah has given us two celebrations, which was the Eid, the small Eid, and the big Eid, which we call the Eid al-Adha. So now, this particular celebration, the essence is to commemorate the sacrifice. The sacrifice which was ordered by Allah. Allah ordered Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son, Prophet Ismail. And then he obeyed that order. He actually blindfolded his son. And when he was about to sacrifice him, Angel Jibril removed Prophet Ismail from under the knife and replaced him with the ram, which was direct from Allah to Prophet Ibrahim. And what's behind this is that Prophet Ibrahim, without questioning the decree of Allah, actually wanted to carry out the sacrifice of his son. But there is a deeper dimension to this. Prophet Ibrahim, for a long time, was married to our mother, Sarah, and they didn't have a child. Sarah was already in her old age when she said, okay, why don't you marry our servant girl, Hajar, so that she may bear you a child? And with the permission of Allah, Prophet Ibrahim actually married Hajar, and she gave birth to Prophet Ismail, which was the first son. At his old age, he had his first son. And then subsequently, for this obedience, for this sacrifice, Allah actually blessed our mother Sarah with Prophet Ishaq. Now, this son that Prophet Ibrahim had as his old age had come of age. And then after he came of age, he got inspiration from Allah to sacrifice him. Without questioning this decree of Allah, he went ahead to do the sacrifice, and Allah actually replaced, like I said before, this with a ram for him. So what is the essence from all of these that we can take as Muslims? It is to ask ourselves as Muslims, are we actually obeying Allah's command? The revelation of the Quran is complete, and the Sharia is complete. We have all we need as Muslims to live. The Sharia is the complete way of life for us as Muslims. So we have all we need. We have all the laws, how to marry, how to do anything we want to do. We have a lot of deviations today by Muslims, sometimes in dressing, sometimes in how we conduct marriages, sometimes in how we conduct relationships, sometimes in how we even worship. But the true essence of, faith is to learn. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that the first thing as Muslims is to learn Islam. We cannot say we do not know Islam. We need to learn Islam. Where do we learn Islam? We need to go to our mosque. We need to go to our scholars. And I also want to call on our imams to distill these learnings in our Friday sermons, in our daily prayers, find time to distill. We already do that, but we can continue to do that in a deeper way, to distill the fundamentals of Islam to the teeming Muslim population. So in the essence of faith, the essence of this season of sacrifice is for us to obey Allah. But to obey Allah, Rasul said we cannot worship Allah if we do not know him. We need to know him first, which is that we need to prioritize seeking knowledge. Where do we seek this knowledge? There are a lot of ways. Social media, technology, YouTube, Google is a way to learn Islam from good sources. Authenticate your sources. You can check the sources you learn knowledge from your scholars, and then go online, learn knowledge, go to your scholars, learn knowledge, attend our prayer houses, learn knowledge. And it's by learning this knowledge that you understand the essence of faith, which is the essence of this celebration, and you practice it as a Muslim. Thank you.
Many thanks, Dr. Ada Veruko. Let's get back here in the studio. Barrister Okwakunle, I would like to hear your thoughts about the lessons of the celebration, Eid al-Kabir, using it as a way for nation building. She's talked about the youth and all, but I'm just looking at how Muslims and even non-Muslims can learn from this particular celebration and make our nation better.
Yes, we must know as Muslims that we have a responsibility in our society to keep peace and maintain peace. And that is the injunction from God. And we must understand that it is an instruction which must be complied with, just like our forefather Ibrahim alayhi salam complied with the instruction when Allah told him that he should slaughter his son. And he complied without question. He didn't question God. He didn't hold on or hold back, that after waiting so many years, and I eventually had one, and he told me to slaughter it. He didn't hold back. He went ahead to comply. So as Muslims, we have the injunction from God to ensure that our society is at peace at all times. And this responsibility, it is mandatory upon us. In fact, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he made it clear in one of the ahadith. He said, Ar-Rahimun, Yarhamuhum Ar-Rahman, Tabarakallahu wa ta'ala, Irhamu man fil ard, Yarhamukum man fil sama. He said, anybody who is merciful, who is good to other people, God will be merciful at the person. He now said, be merciful to people around you. God in the heaven will be merciful at you. And the essence of this is, we must know that a society cannot develop when we are not correlating peacefully. It is only when we ensure peace that we develop a society. And for such society to coexist peacefully, all the parties, including the Muslims, must be able to tolerate ourselves. We must also ensure peaceful coexistence by tolerating ourselves. Muslims are not supposed to be intolerant, because even if you read the story of Islam, you will realize that when Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left Mecca to Medina, he met Christians, he met Jews, and he did not chase any of them out of Medina. And he came there, even though Islamic government was eventually established, but they were there, living, coexisting peacefully. So this is a nation that we found ourselves, and we've learned that from Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Then it becomes a mandatory, it becomes a responsibility upon us by the spirit of this Eid, that we coexist with our neighbor peacefully. We must be our brother's keepers in every sense of it. In terms of needs, we must assist them. In terms of support, we must support them. In fact, when we realize that things are going wrong against them, against their interests, we get their back, hold their backs for them. That when they come back and they realize that, oh, you did this for me, even within them, they may be saying, even though I'm not a Muslim, you did this for me. I've seen someone who gave a job to a Muslim brother in this Abuja. He got a job for a non-Muslim. And the person came to me, he said, you know that friend of mine? He was telling me, even though he's not a Muslim, I got a job. I said, Well, it is our duty as Muslims that most of us fail to do. People will not appreciate what you are holding when they are not benefiting from it. It is only what people understand and they see the benefit that most people will appreciate. And then Islam has taught us that we must preach Islam. One of the ways we can preach Islam is through benefit. Let people see that you benefit a lot from being a Muslim. And then where a society, if Nigeria is not peaceful, it is not going to affect only non-Muslims. It is a society that belongs to all of us, and it becomes our collective responsibility to keep Nigeria at peace. If as Muslims you decide to create crisis, no problem. It is a water we are all going to sip from. It's a cup we are all going to sip from. But when you ensure that you maintain peace, and if you are saying peace, it starts from individual. You do your part, your fellow other Muslim brother will do his part. And after a while, even if other people are trying to fight you, and they realize, they see what you're exuding from time to time, that it's peace, you are not willing to fight, then they will talk to themselves. Sure. They will be able to talk to themselves and meet you up with peace, which you are extenuating to them. So as Muslims, we have the primary responsibility towards societal, communal development. Nigeria is our collective responsibility, and we have a stake in developing Nigeria. And one of those things is for us to maintain peace, give peace, and ensure people benefit from us. Not only our dear Muslim brothers, even non-Muslims alike.
Thank you, Barrister Kasim. Imam, I'm thinking, on a day like this, what's your message of hope and reflection as people get set to celebrate Eid al-Kabir?
Well, my brother has reeled out issues on peace, harmonious relationship. I even want to go further, because one of the significance of this Eid, as we said, is patience and perseverance. Here is a nation bedeviled by inflation, insecurity, economic challenges here and there. My call on my brethren is to be patient with this situation. Patient and prayerful for this situation. Let us give our leaders the chance, with all the efforts left, right, and center. Let us give them the chance. Let's even pray for them. Let them succeed, so that we pull out of this economic quagmire, insecurity all over the place. Most important, we must also tell them the truth where they are. It is important we avoid corruption at all levels. It is important.
Can you use the proceeds of corruption to buy a ram? Will it be acceptable by Allah?
No way. Allah is pure and does not accept anything but pure. Even if you bring your donation or your tithe to me, I have the right to inquire your source, especially when I know your capacity. It is important to inquire. Some will tell me, no, don't go into details. My boss used to tell me the devil is in the details, so don't go into details. But sometimes consciously, you know, somebody calls you and just hand over 2.5 million naira to buy RAM. That's crazy. I know there are RAMs of 2.5 million naira in Abuja, but I know I can sneak into my village in Kaduna and get 150,000 naira RAM. So why 2.5 million naira for a RAM for an imam? That's quite question mark. So we must say the truth to whoever it is, the leaders, the followers, the technocrats, those that are in the front seat in the mosques and churches. Tell them the truth. Don't be after the handout they will be giving you.
All right, many thanks, Imam. One of our correspondents is in Saudi Arabia. and he joins us via Zoom. Talking about Tokwe Alabi, he's been on Hajj, and I'd like him to tell us where he is at the moment and what Eid al-Kabir is like in that part of the world. Tokwe, Baraka Salah to you.
Well, many thanks, Yuri and the crew in the studio. Today is we are in Mina. Everyone, as early as possible, to throw stones. And it's already sunny. That's why I can't stand outside. The temperature is about 345 degrees. It might not be too good for me to stand. So that's why I decided to stay here in lobby. By and large, it's been a very wonderful experience, and Saudi Arabian government has been able to ensure that minimal beaches charge for pilgrims to CSR. So, what basically today?
All right. We seem to have be having distortions in the audio quality of that, connection with Tokwe, who is in Saudi Arabia. Once we are able to get that connection right, of course, we would get back to him. I'd like to get back to Dr. Adavariku now, who joins us in Lagos. I hope that connection is still intact. Okay. All right. So, of course, we'll join her much later. Let's get back here in the studio. All right. Do we have Tokwe ready? Okay, fine. All right, so of course we'll join Tokwe and of course Dr. Adavariku. I actually wanted to ask Dr. Adavariku this particular question because she's a woman. It's about how women should conduct themselves this period. You've talked about nation building and all, and we've talked about the importance of the family unit. This period, it's likely that some families may be in crisis because of this celebration. Just say a man who cannot provide a ram for his family. What do you expect the wife to say this period? Your mate did this. All those kind of comparisons could lead to a lot of things. Yes. Or maybe you cannot provide new clothes for your family and all of that and everything. What will be your admonition, really? I'm sure Dr. Adavariku will tell us better, being a woman. But what will be your admonition to homes that are struggling this period and cannot meet up with some of the requirements of this celebration? Particularly women, what would you want them to do?
We must understand that, like the saying goes, that life is not a bed of roses. Certain times you have resources at your disposal in abundance, and at the other time you lack them. And it is not a curse, it is just the formula of existence. Even in our holy book in the Quran, Allah said it, that وَلَنَّبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّن خَوْفٍ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. The meaning of that is we are going to test you with fear and hunger. Surely you are going to experience a reduction in means of sustenance from time to time. So if your husband come home and he tells you, I'm sorry, I can't afford it this time around, you should know that this is a man, before he returns home, he must have sat under trees, thought of several ways, lawful ways of getting resources to acquire.
Anyways, I'll have to pause you, Barrister, because you may not understand it from the woman angle. It's a woman that knows how it feels when a man is not providing as he should. So let's get to Dr. Adavariku. She's probably going to give us a clearer perspective of what women should do this period. Dr. Adavariku, you know what I'm talking about. See your mates. They have bought the ram. See the new cloth that this Hajia wore, and you couldn't get this for me. Speak to women this season, especially for women, that your husbands have not been able to meet up with some of the commitments of the celebration.
Okay, that's a tough one. I empathize with you if you're going through this. I deeply, deeply empathize with you. It is very difficult to see your mates having or experiencing a lifestyle that you would have loved, but you don't have. And of course, it's a test. Like Barrister said, it is in the Quran where Allah told us that He will test us. And He will test us, but what do we do with this test? It also speaks to, the season. Prophet Ibrahim was tested, his wife was tested, his son was tested, and they all submitted. When Shaitan wanted to come into this, he went to Prophet Ibrahim and he told him that, oh, yeah, you waited so long for this son and now you are being asked to sacrifice him. Don't sacrifice him. He threw stones at him. The same with Mother Hajar, the same with Prophet Ismail. So now, if this is your own test at this period to face some lack, I want to tell you that you should make do with what you have, pray to Allah for abundance, and encourage your husband to work harder while also doing your best in your own capacity. To do whatever you can to contribute as much as you can, but do not take over the man's responsibilities. It is still his duty to provide for the family. If you have, give some to him in charity. It is encouraged in the Sunnah. You can even give your husband your zakats as a woman. If you're more well-to-do than him, you can give out of what you have to him. If you do not have, I know there are situations where your husband does not have and you don't have. Manage what you do have. This is a season where people would also give to you. Please look around your neighborhood if you have and give to those. I want to encourage women that before each time, look in your wardrobe and bring out those clothes that you have not worn for a long time and give it out in charity. Look for people in your neighborhood that may likely benefit and give to them. You can ask them kindly before you give to them so that they don't feel that you're giving them castaway, that, oh, I have these clothes. Do you know somebody that may benefit from them? Or can I give them to you? So by that doing, you're able to spread joy. You're able to be part of other people's celebration and you will be rewarded. Remember that as human beings, we're here on earth to work for reward. And this reward is what we send forth for our account with Allah when we go to Allah. So do as much good as you can. You do not know the good that would actually increase your scale on the day you're with Allah. You do not know which of them would increase your skill. And whatever you do it with the right intention to serve God and to be of benefit to mankind. So when you do this, you gain the reward for your good deeds. When you do this, you gain the reward for your good deeds. So I want to say that we all have a stake in this. The have and the have-nots. We have a stake in alleviating. If we have a stake in alleviating those that don't have. If we do not have, it is still a test from Allah of how patient and how we persevere. Remember that this is also the season of patience and perseverance, because Prophet Ibrahim was patient. Sorry, I'm stopping the call coming in. Sorry, let me put this on mute. So Prophet Ibrahim was patient when, he was being tested with the lack of a child. And even when he was given a child, he was still patient and he persevered when Allah asked him to sacrifice the child. So this is a season that Allah sometimes also tests our own patience to see if we would walk in the footsteps of our father, Prophet Ibrahim.
Much, Dr. Adavariko. I hope that a lot of women have heard you, and this celebration will not bring chaos in their homes, but of course bring peace, like Barrister has said. When we get back from the break, we'll talk about what our leaders need to learn from this. This is a season of sacrifice. I mean, our leaders sacrificing enough, for the nation. All of that we'll talk about when we come back from this break. Stay with us.
When we think about the digital economy, you can see it as the marketplace for digital goods and services. And increasingly, it's becoming a force to reckon with and an incredible contributor to economic growth, because we've seen the growth in technology and digital platforms. Technology has it really permeated every aspect of life and business, the way we live, the way we work. And when we talk about the digital economy, we're really talking about leveraging technology and digital platforms in a powerful way to drive growth, to drive solutions to problems, to drive applications, and to provide services.
The digital economy is something that has the potential to help Nigeria leapfrog a lot of its development challenges, right? Because think about what the mobile phone did for Nigeria years ago. That is the potential we have for digital, because it has a way of reducing the barriers to innovation. It has a way of being able to transform service delivery, whether it's government's delivery of services or whether it's services in the health system, where people can use digital to actually be able to see their patients better. But it takes a lot to realize that potential of digital. The first thing is like every other thing, there's an infrastructure you have to build to be able to make sure that digital economy can thrive. Think of something like, capturing that happens in Nigeria, right? Where you capture, people's biometric when they go for a driver's license, when they go for passports, and each of those are separate things. Imagine a system where you're able to streamline that and actually have a platform that exchange biometric information that makes it easier for people to access passports, easier for people to register to vote. But today it's very tough, right? But those are basic infrastructure that needs to be invested in. A lot of it is through government and private sector collaborations to make it happen.
If we're looking to accelerate growth in the Nigerian space, we really need to look at enabling the digital economy. That includes providing digital infrastructure, connectivity, because that's the highway, like the highway that everything rides on. We need to think about digital capacity building in terms of the suppliers to the economy and also the consumers within the economy. So a robust digital literacy initiative. The good thing about technology is that, one, it helps you to transcend boundaries. Two, it creates a level playing field, really, because if you create a solution, it's a technology-based solution that is applicable in this environment, that same technology can be applicable, exported to other environments. And, technology platforms also help drive collaboration, right? When we're thinking about innovation, when we're thinking about business growth, collaboration is an important part of that. So when we think about the impacts with the rest of the world, we find that actually technology platforms are giving us an opportunity to engage more actively, to collaborate, to create partnerships, to even export our knowledge and services for people to engage with all the great things I'm talking about technology and digital platforms. They need access, internet access, broadband access. So we need to make sure that access is more available and affordable for the average user.
The most important thing is to think about where you want to go as a country and actually what type of policies are going to help get you there. There are examples of countries who've been able to transform using digital, for example. There are very clear things those countries did to be able to make it happen. So a lot of this, the pathway to be able to solve these problems are not mysterious, right? It takes courage of the policymakers to be able to understudy some of these things and bring in the policies that work to be able to help them.
All right, thank you for being there. We've been discussing Eid al-Kabir celebration on Good Morning Nigeria. And at the moment, we have contributions from the viewers, which we would like to take immediately. You have some, I guess.
Yes, I do.
But let's begin with Jubril Ahmad Jubril Issa from Taraba State, who says, good morning to you all in the studio. Happy Eid Mubarak to all my Muslim brothers and sisters. He says this is a season of love and sacrifice and also showing acts of kindness, said by Muhammadu Asudila. Okay, I'm really happy and privileged to witness this Eid Mubarak, inshallah. Again, honestly, Christians and Muslims are one, but the stubborn ones among them are the ones causing problems. If you go to Gaza and Israel, they behave the same way. They never fight for religion, only border problem. Religion is not our problem, but our attitudes. Unfortunately, no name. And I also have Good Morning Nigeria, Happy Salah. All the guests have spoken well. I specifically appreciate Barrister Kasim for his contribution on peaceful coexistence. I wish majority of Nigerians will put it into practice. That's from Ibrahim from Kaduna.
All right, I'd like to start with this one that says, good morning, my name is Wahab. I'd like to ask your guest, can I receive ram as gift from someone? He gave it to me and he asked me to slaughter for Eid. Is it acceptable?
Sure.
Okay, even if you don't buy with your money, you can slaughter a gift. Okay, fantastic. All right, so that's your response. So you can go ahead and slaughter the free gift. I mean, lucky you, by the way. All right, the next one here says, good morning to all the panel members. My name is Abbas Abubakar Saad from Jalingo, Taraba State. I wish you all a happy Salah. However, I have one question. Since Salah Eid has coincided with Juma today, is it still necessary to observe the Juma prayer after the Eid prayer? What is the position of the imams regarding this matter?
In all the school of thoughts, 4 school of thoughts in Islam, 3 have agreed after the Eid prayer you can still observe the Jummah prayer. Only the Hanbali school of thought say because of the stress, the logistics, that after the Eid prayer you can skip the Friday prayer.
But would the mosque be open for the Juma prayer?
Sure.
If you want to, why not?
Oh, fantastic.
Sure.
All right. All right, I like this one, and I hope that the FCT minister is listening, or rather watching. This one says, Eid Mubarak to all Muslim Ummah across the world. I'm Alhaji Kabir from Prince and Princess Abuja. We make an emotional appeal to His Excellency Barrister Nyesom Wike, FCT Minister, to please leave the waterboard running throughout the Salah period. I mean, we need water, we need light, so we should also ask AEGC.
Did you turn off the waterboard?
No, well, I think maybe sometimes it goes off, just asking that there's water, there's light. I mean, we just need all of that to make the Salah celebration a fantastic one. Great, well, about rounded off, but of course I was talking about how we can relate this, how our leaders can relate with this. Interestingly, we have the president, the vice president going to the Eid ground today to pray. This is about sacrifice, really. We have a lot of our leaders in different states who are Muslims, who understand what sacrifice is about as a result of the celebration. How can they relate that with how the country is being governed?
It is important that leaders should be conscious of situations we find ourselves in the country. Things are hard, things are difficult, a lot of economic challenges. Thank God for the rain. We hope for a bumper harvest. We pray for bumper harvest. But this is the time leaders should dedicate resources to alleviate or at least reduce the pains of poverty in the land. Yes, I've seen some direct intervention, supply of rice, supply of vegetable oil, intervention by mostly the first ladies, both at the federal and at the state levels. We need to do more on the part of the leaders. But most important, let them curb excessive expenditure that are unnecessary. All these long convoys should be reduced drastically. It consumes fuel, wear and tear, and a lot of resources are being put just for the benefit of one person. You go to the airport road, you see convoy of 9, 10 vehicles just seeing off one person. This is certainly, it will be better certainly to reduce some of this unnecessary expenditure and channel these resources to viable economic engagements or investment where the generality of the masses will benefit.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Let me get to Mr. Kasim. You know, earlier we talked about people who do not have to celebrate Eid. Now, some people go to the extent of borrowing just to make, you know, to be part of the celebrations.
Yes.
What does Islam say about such actions?
Well, borrowing is permissible in Islam.
And then going into debt?
But going into debt that is above your capacity, it is prohibited.
Certainly.
And the thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, La ikra fi din. There is no compulsion. La yukallifu Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Thank you. That Allah does not place upon you that which is above your capacity. So if you do not have the capacity to slaughter ram, you know, it's different from, okay, you have money that maybe your salary was delayed. You're expecting salary to be paid this week, but it did not come in. You're certain that maybe by next Tuesday, upon resumption, it will be paid. You're certain. That you can say, okay, my friend, can you please hand out some money? Let me get this thing resolved, pending when my salary will be in. But a situation where you have to go to cooperative society to break your account, to borrow money, loan, simply because you do not want the practice in your family of slaughtering every year to break, that is not permissible.
And by the way, to states who got their June salary early, they should be careful why they spend, because
June may become longer if you overspend.
We need to go. There's no time. Dr. Adevariko, your last words as we round up the conversation to Muslims and non-Muslims alike.
Okay, so thank you so much for this forum. And I hope that all what my co-speakers have said and also the presenters have said on nation building and maintaining peace and unity, which are actually our motto as a country, would be upheld by all, both Muslims and non-Muslims, as we celebrate Eid. I want to wish everyone Eid al-Kabir, Mubarak. May Allah bless the celebration for us, and may we be able to reflect on the message of Eid and allow this reflection to color our lives moving forward. Thank you so much.
Indeed, our lives will be colorful as a result of this celebration. Fantastic way to end the conversation. Thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate our guest, of course, Dr. Aisha Adavariko, educationist and life coach. Thank you so much for being our guest. We appreciate you, and Eid Mubarak to your family. Barrister Kazim Opakule, Islamic cleric and legal practitioner. We expect the Ram and the Baraka de Salah, of course. You know, it's all part of the celebration. Thank you so much for being our guest and your insight. All right, Imam Ibrahim Idris,
thank you.
Deputy National Chief Imam Al-Hababiyya Islamic Society of Nigeria.
Thank you.
Many thanks for being our guest, and we hope that the teachings
Yes.
in our mosque, you know, on building the nation would continue. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We have a live studio opening now, and of course, it's a continuation of the Eid al-Kabir celebration. We'll be joining Eid grounds across the nation, you know, watching our leaders, of course, you know, perform the Eid prayer, and of course, listening to messages, you know, from different Eid grounds. All of that is up next on the network service of the NTA. Ajia, Abdullahi Ajia, yes, is going to anchor that, and he's already ready, looking smashing, ready for the Eid al-Kabir celebration. By the way, I'm going to get my ram from you, Ajia. Get ready. I'm coming to you. All right, so Victor, what's the plan from now?
Well, the plan is that you give me your zakat and rams to go with it. Let's get to Abdullahi Ajia.
All right.
Thank you very much, Victor and Nyere, from the studios of Good Morning Nigeria. We come here to the network studios where we have the special edition of the 8 coverages for 2025, which is equivalent to 1446 after Hijrah. It is a special day, a day of celebration, a day where we rejoice and also reflect deeply on the issue of sacrifice, patience, as demonstrated by Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, who is believed to be the prophet of all nations. And today is usually a special day where we'll relate to you Muslims worshiping in accordance with the Sunnah and also the teachings of the glorious Quran, where we're expected to look good. We're also expected to go out to the Eid grounds and pray. And of course, trust the NTA, the largest network in Africa, will always bring to you such moments. And today will not be different because we'll be expecting